Shefaru makes a comment on Twitter that more citizens should push for awareness of the required amenities in their residential areas. Information sharing is key. And Ian Odongo asking, should we incorporate urban planning in citizen participation?
Generally, you must have realized that nowadays all processes are supposed to be inclusive. That is, if you are making a law, you must have participation by the citizens. Even planning also involves the citizens. So it's a process. It's not just a one-off event. It's not someone sitting down in an office somewhere and plan and come out with the plan and impose on people. People also participate, so it is there.
My name is Zahid Rajan. I stay at Honeysuckle Gardens, Advocacy in Eastlands. Now I have this question. I want to deconstruct this monster called government. And it's basically a many-headed hydrax, which we really need to understand. We faced challenges over the last 8 years where we moved into a low-cost housing development, and the developer had showed us plans of how the whole entire land was going to be developed. 5 years later, we've got high-rise buildings sitting right next to us. The land has been sold, and we suddenly, we feel completely naked. We've got our security has actually gone to the dogs. Then what has happened is all land use has changed. We had the industry nearby, and they've sold land and they've given land away for a container depot. So we've got container trailers on our road 8 hours a day, causing a complete gridlock. They've destroyed the roads. They don't take no responsibility for fixing those roads. There are tensions between the MP and the industry itself. They've taken over part of, they've planted acacia trees where there's supposed to be storm drainage water. And so we've had a demonstration where we went and, try and create some awareness. The next thing was members of our estate got picked up by the police because the industry had bribed the police to go and pick up our members and force them to pay, huge bails of 150,000 shillings. Finally, we've resorted to having a petition of 200 people within the thing, and we've just gone and seen the governor. And we have an MCA staying in our estate, and there are all kinds of tensions between these people as well, as to why didn't you bring it to me, and why did you take it to him? And so we keep telling them, look, we're really sick and tired of this politics. We only got one question: we want to live in a decent area. We want our roads, we want water, we want safety, we want security. But there's all this fighting going on. And everybody's saying this person's not going to do anything. So what is this government? What is this devolution? How does it work? Who's going to? Because at the end of the day, we're sort of completely helpless. If the police have been bribed, the local government's not acting, the industries have everybody in their pocket. What do we do as citizens where even members of our residents association have been arrested and intimidated? Where do we go from here?
I become afraid when someone from the commission says that it's hard to recover public land, because one of the problems with public land is in Kamukunji, it has even created fear. People nowadays put in their doors that this plot is not for sale, because nowadays people can buy your property while you are in, and then you're evicted. Because we have cases whereby the Isili social hall was sold to a developer private, and then we have a public market which was sold also, and then now we have a mall, and all this is in the name of public-private partnership. So sometimes I ask myself, it is called public-private partnership, but who is this public?
What is this process when you are trying to protect, to reclaim, and to manage land for the public or for residents, in the particular case of the example given?
I think the issue pointed out by my friend here is really a question of planning that went wrong at some point. But I think it's really symptomatic of the general problems that we have as far as land is concerned in our country. And nice planning was done. But as I'd said earlier on, after some time, the grabbers encroach, they change everything. They are able to get change of user. They bring in other things that have not been anticipated to be in those lands. So they completely change the entire planning process. And because of the way we are, I mean, issues of corruption, issues of kitu kidogo, then the leaders are bribed. So things really changed, and that you end up now getting huge lorries camping there, containers, and yet the area was residential, and probably the buildings were supposed to be probably one floor. So that is really the epitome of the problems that our country is facing. What is happening now is trying to undo that, and that's why we have the county government. I think one of the challenges is that the county government and also even the commission, because these are new structures that we have had after the new constitution, is also grappling with how to go about. Because one of the challenges that we are facing now is because of the poor planning, because of the grabbing. Now, even getting space for projects, it's so difficult, and because of the skyrocketing prices of land, to even put up a national project like, for instance, the standard gauge railway, most of the expense that goes to that project actually goes to buying of land, which is not supposed to be the case. The money should be going to the actual project, the work of but now a huge chunk of it, and even expanding a road like Outer Ring, most of the money goes into buying back land from the people. So I will look at it like it is a general malice that has afflicted our country, and yeah, we have to look at it that way, in my view.
Because I sort of want to narrow the specific question of this gentleman and people like him who are feeling this frustration. When the National Lands Commission sort of says, yes, this is a general problem, and shrugs, the rest of the populace begins to tremble. What is the recourse for residents such as these who are now surrounded by high-rises and container depots and trucks? What is their immediate, right now, practical recourse? Because I think this is the frustration, is that everyone agrees that there is a problem, everyone agrees that there has been a problem for some time, and then that's it. But he has to go home to containers and trucks.
Yeah, what I would want to say is that, and I would also want to look at it together with Garang's question, is the commission now has a process that is going on, which probably most of us are not aware, but the commission is every day having hearings in terms that are known as review of grants and dispositions. So people could actually come, and what we need to do as people from your estate, for instance, is to organize yourselves. Garang, for instance, organize yourself with your leaders, and you present petition to the commission for review of those grants. If really you are sure that the land has already been taken and people have titles for those land that had been set for public utilities, then you can petition the commission to review, and the commission actually has the powers to either revoke those titles or regularize them if they were not regular. So that is one avenue. And again, as you do that, there are other, like for instance, the county government. The county government, you also need to approach it, but as you've known in our country, corruption also fights back, yeah? So it's not something that you just wake up and like my friend Garang just fight, alone. It's something that you really need to up your game, get people on your side, and come to the commission. You'll be given a hearing. They will be told to present their claim to ownership. What do they have that shows that they own the land? And you will also be asked, so you must also come with your documents. So those hearings have been going on. You heard about the land in Lamu, the ranches that had been taken. The people even who took them had not even been there. They just sat down and took the land. And while the Mwananchi out there still thinks this is my land. So the commission revoked them at some point. And so it's not something that is like impossible. It is possible, and it has happened before. And many other areas, schools, lands in Nakuru, in Kilifi, in Mombasa, the commission is having hearings for the purposes of for looking at those titles, the propriety of those titles. And if the commission finds that they were acquired irregularly, then they are revoked.
Yeah, I was just wondering, let me ask my colleague Elijah a little bit as a follow-up on that, because I've been following up a lot of these things. The things John has spoken about, I'm very aware of, that ISLI thing. And if you go to ISLI and talk about PPP, people can knife you because they don't want to hear that that terminology, because it means grabbing. Is it possible for the Commission to proactively decide to do something, earth-shaking something around a few of these known things, so that, because there are serious cartels outside there, if you went to court, you will not win, because they'll have all the influence. So the hope of the people is actually on the Commission. And the Commission somehow, I don't know what magic you need to come up with and just do things so that people can know it's not business as usual.
And so I think that's a good question. Who is this government that we're talking about, and who is this public? Is it not we? If it's someone else, then let them please rise and let's talk to them. So I think that's a good question. When we are doing these PPPs, these are just consequences of lack of open data, because there's no reason these PPPs aren't put on some public place where we can actually investigate them and read what were the negotiations of these PPPs, who were they to benefit, what's the returns, what are we paying, if you will, inside of those PPPs. So that should be, that's just another consequence of lack of good open data. But you asked, what can he do, if you will? There should be, NEMA should have actually been in contact with him when those developments were coming on board next to his residence, and it was encroaching on his quality of life. NEMA should have been doing that, and you shouldn't have had to go around collecting 200 signatures. NEMA should have been going around doing that on your behalf, because that's their responsibility inside of doing an environmental impact assessment. And even next to my home, right, we discovered that there was an excavation going on right next to our home, and as we went to go talk with the developers, they do not have approval yet. NEMA had not done the process yet. They just know that they're going to get approval, so why wait, if you will? Let us go ahead and get started, and the rest can just come along the way. And so with that kind of shared knowledge, that kind of shared understanding on the ground, that's when you will have all sorts of things, and it's hard to come back. Elijah, I want to know, is there an ombudsman that is in Nairobi County, or that represents the people inside of the county? That's another place that this citizens should be able to take their concerns to an ombudsman that represents their interests, that they can take them and actually gives them feedback on their concerns. I think that's kind of one of the challenges also, is people actually getting responses to issues. And so, Obama, he said it well, and he reminded us that the people aren't stupid. They're not blind. If we see somebody driving by in a new car, we will question, where did you get that car? And so people want to see bold leadership. People want to see decisive action coming from the government, the people that have the power to do so. So we can't wait. We can't hold back, or we cannot shy away from our responsibilities. We need bold action. We need decisive leadership, and that's just what I think is missing.
Right now, I know for sure that the University of Nairobi has been commissioned to do some guidelines for different zones. So when the consultations come, I will urge all of you, to go and present. So say, we don't want this mixed development. You have all sorts of things coming there. So that you can actually describe moving forward, what is it that you like to see in various neighborhoods. So this is a challenge to all of us, that when that time comes, we need to be available so that we can influence what will go into those guidelines.